There's a moment that comes quietly, almost imperceptibly, a shift that begins deep inside, then echoes outward. It's the moment when she realizes, perhaps for the first time, that she's lost you. And it isn't just the absence of your presence. It's the absence of everything you two once shared. This is a moment that can leave a deep mark, a moment that makes her feel like she's lost something that once felt like home. The feeling isn't just about the end of a relationship. It's the realization that she's no longer a part of your world, and that's a hard truth to face. At first, it's disbelief. It feels like a cold, uninvited truth breaking in, unexpected and sharp. The heart races, the thoughts scatter. She might replay every conversation, every moment, trying to find where things slipped through her fingers. She'll wonder if she missed the signs, if she could have done something differently. In this space, time seems to stand still. It's the moment of shock, the realization that no matter how much she may wish for it, things aren't the same anymore. In a way, it's almost like waking up from a dream only to find that the dream was already fading. And then comes the wave of self-doubt. She questions herself, her worth, wondering if she wasn't enough, if there was something she missed. Was she too much? Too little? Did she love too deeply, or not enough? In her mind, 1,000 what-ifs swirl, each one a reminder of how things could have turned out differently. But this feeling of inadequacy, the fear that she wasn't enough, can cloud her judgment. What she doesn't always realize is that relationships are complex. They are not about one person's failure, but often about timing, circumstances, and the path both people are on. In these moments, it's vital to remind ourselves that we are not defined by someone else's choices. Her worth is not tied to whether or not someone else sees her value. Grief often follows, and grief doesn't look like just sadness. It's the quiet moments when she's alone, when the world moves on, but she feels frozen. It's the memory of laughter that fades, the shared moments that now feel like a distant echo. Grief is often misunderstood. It's not just about mourning the end of something. It's about mourning the future that was once envisioned. She might grieve the plans, the dreams, the potential of what could have been. Because sometimes it's not just the person we lose, it's the future we imagined with them. In this moment, it's important to remember that grief is not a sign of weakness. It's a natural response to love and loss. It's the heart's way of making sense of the space left behind. But with time, there comes reflection. She begins to process the loss, not just of you, but of herself, too. It's in these moments of reflection that healing starts. It's where she looks inward, where she finds the strength she didn't know she had. She might look back at the relationship and see it for what it truly was, a chapter in her life, a chapter that was filled with growth, lessons, and moments that shaped who she is. In this quiet reflection, she begins to accept that losing you doesn't mean she's lost herself. The realization comes slowly, but it's powerful. She is enough. She always was, and she always will be. And then there's a shift, slow at first, but undeniable. The pieces begin to fall into place. She reconnects with herself, with the things she loves, with the dreams that were hers before the relationship. She begins to rediscover her passions, her purpose. She starts to realize that this loss wasn't the end of her story. It was just a new beginning. And she steps forward, knowing that her heart has grown stronger through this. Through the pain, the doubt, and the grief, she finds new strength. It's in the quiet moments of rediscovery that she begins to understand something truly beautiful, that her worth isn't tied to anyone else's recognition, but to her own self-love and growth. Now empowered with the wisdom she's gained, she sees life differently. She knows now that love, like any part of life, isn't always about holding on. It's about learning, growing, and embracing the beauty of both connection and independence. The pain of losing you becomes less about regret and more about understanding the lessons life offered through that chapter. She moves forward, not with the weight of the past, but with the lightness of someone who knows their worth and their path. Because when we lose someone, we don't lose ourselves. We gain wisdom, strength, and the courage to love ourselves first. So yes, she may have lost you, but in reality, what she's found is herself. She is stronger, wiser, and more whole than she was before. And while she may always cherish the moments you shared, she knows now that her journey is hers to walk, and she's walking it with more confidence and self-love than ever before. Because sometimes the greatest loss in life becomes the greatest gift. The gift of self-discovery, the gift of resilience, and the gift of knowing that no one else can define who we are. We define ourselves. So if you're in a place of loss, know this: you are not alone, and the pain you feel is not forever. It's simply a stepping stone to discovering the powerful, beautiful person you've always been. Embrace your journey, because your story is just beginning.